Hello Film Worlders, it's me, your host, Micah Pendleton, and welcome to Film World Community, Episode 2. So, today we got a lot of good questions, let's get right into them. Donald Wilson asks, my question is, where in the editing process do you add your effects? Is it after the video project has been edited on the timeline and rendered out into, say, an MP4 file, or do you render the edited project out in a lossless format, add the effects, and then do a final render to a smaller lossy format? Lousy format? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, if I get your question correct, you're asking should you do the visual effects before or after editing your project. There are a couple of ways to go about this. Some people prefer one way over another. There's just options for you to do, and you'll just choose according to your workflow and your project, the time you have, the budget, whatever. So one way you can do it is you can edit your entire project and render out individual effect shots in high quality files to where you're basically losing no data, and then do your visual effects that way. And then re-import it into your timeline before even rendering out the entire project. That's the way I've done it for, I think, 2 projects now. I basically had it all edited out in the timeline, and then I would render out part of it. Then I'm talking like these are bigger projects, not just Film World. But I would render out just the single shot. Then I would do the shot, re-import the edited shot back into the timeline, and just go from there. But another very effective way that I think I might like the best, I still don't quite know, is to do all of your editing right, but instead of exporting it from your NLE, then re-importing it and all that, I take the shot number and basically the start and end point, and I just edit that straight from the raw file. That way you don't lose any quality or anything like that from exporting and re-importing and all that kind of stuff. So basically you're just working with the raw file, and all you're doing is taking, because when you're making a movie you got so many different takes and all that, you don't even know until you get to the timeline which take you're going to use. And even at that point, you end up switching which take you use 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever amount of times. I mean, a lot of times you won't even know what the movie's going to be until you hit render for the final time. So probably the best way to do it, I would say, is do your edit and then to take the original file and just chop off the beginning and end, and use the part you're going to actually use, and then do your visual effects. I find that to probably be my personal favorite, but the other way is also good to render out different parts. Or you could just, take a random shot and start editing it. I don't really mean that as a joke, but what I'm saying is just say this one looks good before you even add it to the timeline, and add the visual effects. But that, again, you don't know what you're going to use until you get to the NLE, so that one would not necessarily be the most recommended one. Alright, so next question is from Pro Prince. Sounds like a professional of some kind. He says, cool, is there a way to make what you do in the note editor only apply to part of the video instead of the whole thing? So, again, I'm having a little bit of a hard time completely getting what you're saying. I think you're saying that you want to just add the effect to only a part of a certain video. The reason why this is confusing is because that doesn't really make sense as to why you'd want to do that. Maybe if you're talking like a name, like a lower third or something like that. For something as simple as a lower third, just do it in your NLE. I mean, almost no matter how bad your NLE is, you're going to be able to add a lower third of some kind. But if you're doing like green screening and stuff and you want to only apply it to part of a video, I don't really know why you want to do that. Or maybe muzzle flashes and stuff like that, make color grading. I don't really know why you'd only want to apply it to part of a video. But if you do need to do that for whatever your reason is, basically just export or crop the original video down to only the parts you want to use the visual effect in, and then export just that part, still keeping the original, and then re-import it over that. So that's probably what I would do. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry if I don't completely understand what it is you're asking. Alright, so Ace the Dolphin Guy asks, have you heard that Amazon is making a YouTube competitor called Amazon Video Direct? Have you used it, and what do you think? I personally think it is a mix between YouTube in the way that anyone can upload, and Netflix in the way that it's more professional and meant for paid content. Thanks. Also, when and how is Film World Community? Oh, how often? Sorry. When and how often is Film World Community? Okay, so first question. Have I heard of Amazon Video Direct? No, I have not heard of it. I'll do some looking into this because this does sound very interesting. But my thoughts on it, on being a paid anybody can upload content thing, I really don't know. That's kind of like what YouTube Red seemed to want to be, or seems to want to be, because it's still going and all that, and we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. I really would have to look into it more and definitely build up in a true observation. But I do like the idea of more paid content from anybody, but I also don't like it in the fact that, like YouTube, something that's been so great about it is anybody can upload no matter what their budget and all that kind of stuff, and anybody can watch it. I mean, you can be on a airplane ride for 3 hours and sit there and binge watch YouTube videos. It's great, it's free. But paid content and stuff, like Netflix, I know, paid subscription per month, which is what I would assume Amazon Video Direct would be. But I don't know. I mean, it's just another thing out there, because there's already a lot of things, and it does seem like it could just be adding another, how do I say this? Seem to be adding another item to the list, because you got YouTube, you got already Amazon Video through Prime, then you've got Netflix, Hulu, Vimeo, all these other services out there. Facebook was trying to do something a while back, I think. So I mean, so many different video streaming options and stuff. So it does seem like it might be just another video option from Amazon. So again, I'll have to look into it and definitely see what I think. Now for the second question, when and how often is Film World Community? Film World Community is every other Tuesday. It's not every week, because I'm trying to, keep my load light enough so that I can continue making some good, premiere prep episodes and all that kind of stuff. And but I still want to do a Film World Community type show, so I decided to do it every other week, and that should really be great. So that, we still get a great show every other week, and then we still get, premiere prep every single week, which premiere prep is every Sunday. Almost last question, where did you learn to use Blender? Excellent question, because I don't completely know myself. I learned about Blender a long time ago through the FX Home community forum. If you're unfamiliar, FX Home is the company that owns, or that does HitFilm. And HitFilm, before it was HitFilm, was, well, HitFilm's really its own thing. The software that they made before HitFilm was FX Lab Pro, Composite Lab Pro, and Vision Lab Pro. Or no, it was just Visions Lab, something like that. And FX Lab and Composite Lab combined into Vision Lab to make one software and all that. And I owned FX Lab and Composite Lab, and I was on the forum, and somebody, when I was talking about CGI one day, because I just was like, hey, this is kind of interesting. I want to learn how to do some of that stuff. And somebody said, try Blender, it's free. So I thought I'd try it, and I played around with it. And I didn't even know at the time that it did visual effects. And according to my last episode of Premiere Prep, the introduction to node-based compositing, I guess I don't really even know when compositing came to Blender, because apparently I got that one wrong. According to Wikipedia, I got it correct. But anyway, I didn't even start using Blender for visual effects for a couple years of using Blender, maybe a year and a half. It was close to probably a year and a half or so. I just used Blender for CGI and stuff and just played with it. And I didn't even really get too far with Blender until I started using it for visual effects, because visual effects, like compositing and all that, that's really all I wanted to do. I mean, I liked the idea of having a CGI as a tool, but CGI wasn't what I was interested in, like a lot of people are. I loved, compositing. And so when I found out that Blender actually does compositing, that's when I said, I really am going to be learning this software. And I learned most of it through, like, Andrew Price was a big one. Tom Jelfs, who had Blend That Film, some of his videos were some of the kickstarters to getting me going in visual effects with Blender. There were just several guys on YouTube. I'd find a random YouTuber here, random YouTuber there, watch some videos. But a lot of it, honestly, a lot of what I know about Blender is just from playing with it for hours on end. Because I kind of, didn't do much other than Blender for a long time. So, yeah, really there's a lot of playing with it and some YouTube videos and stuff. So that's really how I learned Blender. Alright, so last question is from TARDIS Maker. I want that guy to make me a TARDIS. I could use one. Okay, his question is, for Film World community, what are your thoughts on having Indy Mogul back? Well, I got mixed emotions there. I bet you weren't expecting that response, were you? No, because I am actually very, 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 very excited that Indy Mogul is back. Like, super excited. Indy Mogul leaving is actually why I started Film World. It's not the only reason, but it was like the final kick to get me to go and start Film World. It's like I thought about doing a YouTube channel for a while. One time I started one called Unlocking Media Secrets. I never even posted any of the videos, but I started I made 5-6 videos or whatever, and I was going to start the YouTube channel, and I was like, nah, I'm going to wait. And then I finally started Film World, but I started Film World, I finally just said, okay, I'm doing it, because Indy Mogul went off air. And I loved Indy Mogul, and I felt like after Indy Mogul left, there wasn't really anybody doing it like they did. Film Riot's still around, and Filmmaker IQ, and the Frugal Filmmaker, and all that kind of stuff. But Indy Mogul had an almost more community-based niche, I would say. There was something different about Indy Mogul that I loved, and was something that I'm really trying to create with Film World, which is where the mixed emotion comes in, because now Indy Mogul's back, and it's like I was trying to, do a little bit of like what they were doing, so it's like a big-time competitor again. But yeah, I'm very happy that Indy Mogul's back, and hopefully we can collaborate on something in the future. So if you're watching this, Eric Beck, get a hold of me. All right, or I'll probably try to get a hold of you. I can almost guarantee it. So anyway, yes, I'm very excited that they're back, and yet another awesome channel on the Film World community. On the YouTube community. This is the Film World community. Anyway, moving on. So that is the last for the questions. The next thing we have, yes, the JJC SD card case giveaway that I had talked about or hinted at strongly last episode of Film World Community, and in the Premiere Prep episode last week, I believe I did. It's not going to be just a giveaway. It's actually going to be a contest. The exact parameters of the contest have not been decided yet. I just thought, okay, I'm going to do a contest a couple days ago, so I'm going to be like really nailing down what the contest is going to be about, for one, and then how you guys are going to submit them, how I'm going to review them, all that kind of stuff, the judging criteria, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to try to really nail that down so that by next episode of Film World Community, the contest will officially go underway. So that will definitely be fun, and definitely tune in not next week, but the week after next, on Tuesday, for the next episode of Film World Community, in which I will announce the contest. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so next up, we have our movie suggestion of the bi-monthly, I guess. The movie suggestion is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This is an absolutely fantastic movie, and I've kind of been trying to suggest older movies and all that because more than likely you haven't seen them, and I was really wanting to recommend some movies I loved that are maybe ones you haven't seen, and odds are probably pretty good that you have seen this one. But if you haven't, definitely watch it, because this movie blew my mind. I think I said that about The Sting, but hey, I'm mentioning the movies I love. They're the ones that blew my mind. But Dawn of the Planet of the Apes... Okay, yes, I'm good. But Dawn of the Planet of the Apes kind of blew my mind because it's a movie that has soul, if you will. I know that sounds kind of funny, but it really does, because you can just it just has a feeling of, I love to make movies, and I made this movie because I love to make movies. And the characters are absolutely amazing. I really can't think of any other way that they could have done these characters to make you really connect with them. I mean, it's just fantastic. And then you really get drawn into the story, especially if you've seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And it just fits flawlessly with that one. Just all out fantastic movie. I think it's really a kind of a modern piece of art, which you don't find a whole lot in modern cinema. A lot of modern cinema is great, don't get me wrong, but this one just had a feeling of classic cinema, if you will, within modern cinema. I just absolutely loved this movie, and I really recommend that you go and get yourself a copy and watch it. All right, so we are almost done with this episode. Thank you guys very much for sticking through. Last Sunday for Premiere Prep, I started the Blender Visual Effects Beginner's Guide, and the response has been absolutely fantastic for that, and it's been spread everywhere. You guys are really being great on that. I really appreciate it. So if you want to check that out, definitely do go into the video section and just find it. It's right there. Thank you guys very much for that. Part 2 is coming next Sunday. That's going to be a whole lot of fun because we're going to be covering masking and rotoscoping. So definitely check in for that this coming Sunday. Did I say Tuesday before? It's coming this Sunday. So that will definitely be a whole lot of fun, and I can't wait to get that to you guys. All right, I guess that really concludes this episode of Film World Community. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm your host, Micah Pendleton. Remember, you should always dream big, but you should completely and totally pay small. I'm your host, Micah Pendleton. I think I said that already. I'll catch you next time.